Hi, my name is Sarah Gross, and this is my CIP project, Elimination of Discrimination, Removing Bullying from the Workplace. So the definition of workplace discrimination is an employee or job applicant's perception of unfair or negative treatment based on membership in a particular social group. Discrimination is a social stressor in the workplace. It's a stress-induced response when witnessing or experiencing discrimination based on social identity. Victims can suffer from anxiety, depression, nervousness, anger, burnout, and physical illness such as gastrointestinal problems. And these illnesses may be caused by managers, colleagues, customers, or just regular job pressures. Most often, though, it comes from managers or a higher up position. And people tend to avoid their perpetrators during a bullying situation, but it's not as easier in a work setting. Obviously, you're working with those people every single day, and you'll probably have to see them in the office or email them at some point. So it's a little bit harder to avoid here. And perceived job characteristics tend to lead to bullying at lower levels and has an impact on job performance. So the lower man on the totem pole might be bullied or discriminated against more than someone who's been there for a bit longer. Subtle prejudices are the most harmful to your mental well-being. It's the little things that might make someone angry, and it might offend someone, but it might not offend someone else. You always have to be aware of what you're saying in that workplace, which leads to micro insults, which are actions that convey insensitivity or rudeness. And they can demean a person's racio, ethnic heritage. So it's kind of like saying a colored person is a servant, but obviously that's not true. Colored people are just as equal as everyone else in that workplace. And then based on a experiment from Offerman and a few other authors there, a relationship between race and institutional discrimination and blatant racial issues was significant. And the whole study was about colorblind attitude and testing with microaggression. So the more aggressive a person tended to become, the more of a in color attitude they would have. Like they tended to be more racist. Witnesses tend not to say anything due to that power imbalance. So someone of a higher power might have the ability to influence the opinions and behaviors of others at work, so they don't want to get in the middle of that. It also causes a stress and strain for the for the witnesses' work relations. And individuals can cope with identity management strategies by focusing on multiple identities, such as moving to a different social group in the workplace or stereotyping and proving that they do not fit those stereotypes. So my objectives, basically, I just want to require in-person programs once a year as a full workday that includes presentations about statistics and bullying in their own workplace and diversity in their own community, and then as well as some case studies that show people how to diffuse bullying situations or deal with bullies in the workplace. There will also be optional programs throughout the year for people to learn more and educate themselves more on diversity and culture. And the whole main target of this presentation is basically human resources departments, which will obviously deal with bullying or discrimination anonymously and safely, holding everyone responsible for their actions and hoping not to target anyone too specifically. And then we will have some pull-through activities throughout the year, meaning that people can apply the learnings that they've learned in the presentations throughout the year to all different kinds of case studies or different situations. So the advantages, you're learning about discrimination in your own community, understanding diversity, learning how to handle those situations so it doesn't always need to be taken up to HR or a higher person. You're learning why diversity and inclusion are most important in the workplace, and learning unconscious bias, which is basically like the little things that you might be biased towards, and learning to unlearn those basically, so that you're understanding that everyone is different and you shouldn't be biased towards one specific group of any kind. And then obviously HR needs to show a zero tolerance policy for bullying throughout the presentations and activities, and then continue that zero tolerance policy through the rest of the year and so on. Some disadvantages, human resources needs to stay up to par with handling these discrimination issues. Employees may worry about interfering with others. Some in-person programs may be harder to have in large companies. So they could split groups up and have them do it day by day, maybe throughout an entire month or so. We also don't want bystanders. Obviously, employees might hide information to protect their friends, but we obviously will discourage that and try to get everyone to tell us everything. And then some people might continue these biases. We all have biases, but the goal here is to completely get rid of them. And some people might not take that criticism too well because they might say that they can say whatever they feel or anything like that. But obviously that has to be taken to HR and removed from that workplace. So basically, I wanted to do my presentation about all of this because of everything that's happening in the world right now with the LGBT community and Black Lives Matter. It's always important for us to support everyone of different backgrounds so that we are learning about new cultures and new ethnicities or any kind. Not saying that we always have to identify with those cultures, but we need to be an ally and understand why those cultures are the way they are. And then obviously companies need to support all employees for a more a more inclusive and educated workplace. I would say a more inclusive and educated workplace is somewhere where I would want to give my business to more than a company that didn't have these types of things. Because they're going to be a little bit friendlier, a little bit more open to your workplace as well. And then here are my references. And thanks for watching my video.